Welcome, friends and relatives. Let us talk about NXT, who once again break the iron law of 3 count commentaries and has more than 5 matches on a wrestling television show, and once again fall victim to the boredom. It wasn't all bad, but the more matches you have, the worse it is every single time. Outside of a pay-per-view, and sometimes even pay-per-views, more is not more. All right, first, let's talk about news and notes. There was a story floating around that WWE is unhappy with the crowd reactions in NXT. Some people say that there's not enough cheers from the audience, that the company has told talent to bring family and friends to the show to sort of boost crowd reactions. I don't really see that the crowd reactions have fallen off. So for me, I don't really see that. I see that some matches are quieter than others, but that's because a lot of these matches are cold. It's very difficult to get people hot for cold matches. The match has to go on for a while in order for the crowd to get up. But this kind of thing has been floating around for a while. And let's just hypothetically, of course, assume that it's true and run with ways to fix it. Well, one of the ways they could fix it is the obvious way that most people have suggested, and that is do NXT on the road every once in a while. Doing NXT in different venues will actually switch up the audience, make people more inclined to not take NXT for granted. Another one would be to actually present stories in a way that are more exciting and more interesting, and not everybody are friends all the time. Maybe that's not the good idea. Maybe all these work rate Europeans aren't the right answer. Shawn Michaels, maybe. But I don't know. Let's assume that it's true. I think it's a difficult situation for them to deal with. And if your problem is the crowd, then your problem is your performers. The performers have to dictate the crowd, not the other way around. And I get that it's educational, at the same time, you don't really have much of a choice. Now is the time to learn. Now is the time to bomb. If you're going to go out there and suck, NXT is the place for it. Because if you go to Raw and you suck too many times, you're just going to be a jobberoni. If you suck too many times on SmackDown, it's going to end up being a jobberoni. So it's better for you to suck on NXT than for you to suck on Raw or SmackDown. We've seen people suck in NXT and then come to Raw and SmackDown and kick ass. So it's an easily fixable problem. All right. After that was about it when it comes to news and notes. We will be doing NXT Stand and Deliver predictions. I will probably put a timestamp or something like that where you can skip to the predictions if you want. Let's talk about the show first and all the boring decisions that they made. Axiom wins the North American title shot. Well, 1 of 5. It's like this guy won a battle royal to get into basically another battle royal because it's like 5 guys in that other match. It's ludicrous, bro. Like, it's straight up ludicrous. The final 2 were Axiom and Nathan Fraser. It was tense. It was athletic. It was quite good. I can't hate on the final 2. That stretch was pretty good. But Axiom winning is incredibly weak. Axiom is one of these boring European guys. There's a reason they put a goddamn mask on him. He's one of these boring European guys with very little personality. I know that they built up to Axiom winning by having him stalk Wesley for weeks now. But at the same time, everybody in this match is the same size, has the same skill set for the most part. Now, they may wrestle differently because Axiom more of a high flyer speed guy along with Wesley and Dragon Lee, while Dragon was more of a ground-based brawler. But everybody's pretty much the same size and in the same, similar style. More is not more. I don't know why I keep having to say that. Why couldn't this match be one-on-one? What about this match meant that it couldn't be one-on-one Wesley versus any of these guys one-on-one? Why did it have to be this clusterbuck? Why? I don't know. We'll talk more about it later, but Axiom wins I don't care. I don't care about Axiom. Tyler Bate is fired up because he's going to represent Chase U in a match against Von Wagner, and Chase U has fought Von Wagner more than one time and failed to do so. Duke was not really interested in helping Tyler Bate to get fired up, but Tyler Bate did defeat Von Wagner in another match that I didn't care about. Didn't care about this at all. Why is Tyler Bate hanging out with Chase University? Not that I care. It just feels like a huge step back for Tyler Bate, who was, for the most part, and has been a top guy in NXT until the last 2 years. You know, this year and last year, Tyler Bate fell off a cliff. You know, part of it was he was stuck in NXT UK, and he had basically won all the titles there and did everything, and yet they weren't going to call him up. And now they moved him to NXT, immediately threw him in a title shot, lost, immediately did it again. He lost again, and now he's just flapping around like a flag in the wind. It's just, now he's dangling on to Chase U. How about that? You know, I remember when people used to say, like, if Tyler Bate isn't world champion in 2 years, something is going wrong. For starters, I don't believe he should be world champion, but he should be doing something. Certainly doing something more than this. And Von Wagner sucks. He sucks the chrome off a bumper. He sucks. After this match, the Schism had a nice little promo where they teased taking over Chase University. It was kind of cartoonish in the video, but okay, it was kind of creepy. All right. We'll talk about that match when we get there. Roxanne Perez is back, and now we're going to have ourselves a PSA on anxiety, because Roxanne Perez, they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her, because the problem was her anxiety disorder was acting up. She had physical exhaustion, but her anxiety disorder is really what the problem was. And now she's been medically cleared, and she wants to get back into the ladder match. And Shawn Michaels was like, you don't just put people fresh off mental illness into a ladder match. Like, that's not smart, which was smart on his part, because that's true. And there'll be other stand and delivers. Don't worry about it. This is the first one ever. We'll get you some matches under your belt. When you feel better, we'll give you a title shot. And she's like, no, it's got to be this one. It's got to be right now. Well, I thought she was going to eat a blueberry and turn blue. Roxanne Perez is being super annoying here. Anyway, she says that you didn't say there'll be WrestleManias next year. You fought for your dream and you did everything you could. And I was like, wait a minute. I know you're not old enough to remember WrestleMania 13, where Shawn was, quote unquote, injured and was seemingly perfectly fine for that show and just chose not to work it because he didn't want to work with Bret Hart. Yeah, maybe not true, but okay. So she begged and pleaded and whined and cajoled, and Shawn Michaels eventually, against his better judgment, said, well, I want tests. I want doctor's notes. I want everything to try to cover my own ass because I'm clearly making a big mistake here by just throwing you back into this match. So he agreed to let her back into the match. So now she's in the match I'm not sure if she's in the match as a defending champion or if she's in the match as one of the contenders. I'm not sure how that works. How does that work? She technically vacated the title, but they can't just give her the title back. That would be unfair. So what's happening here? Anyway, none of this matters. I'm very frustrated by this because I'm not sure if this is legit or not. Some people have said that it's legit, that she got the title stripped away because she legit had a problem that she needed to get sorted out. Other people have said that this is just a work, and I like not knowing. I'm going to assume that it was legit and it was not as bad as they thought it was, because otherwise, taking a title from her for 2 weeks just to put her back in the ladder match seems like top tier stupidity. It seems like top tier dumb fuckery. That's what it sounds like. Oh, we're going to take the title from you for 2 weeks, and then we're going to give you the title back, apparently. And then you got to defend it in a ladder match because everybody has to defend a title against multiple opponents at the same time. I'm still bitching about that. Yes, I am. The last chance triple threat match ties into this because They added a person who didn't have to win anything because, I guess it was fair. So they decided of the last chance triple threat, Sol Ruca versus Ivy Nile versus Indy Hartwell. And they decided, Shawn Michaels decided, the Heartbreak Kid, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, has decided that in his infinite wisdom, that the right person to win this match was Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell. That was his decision. The person he'd been jobbing out for weeks and weeks and weeks. I mean, smothering her with no air. They haven't been doing anything with Indy Hartwell. This is the equivalent of Dolph Ziggler automatically making it into a match. Indy Hartwell is just, I know there's some goodwill there because Indy is well liked by the NXT audience, but I promise you, dog, Indy Hartwell's chances of winning are below toilet. All right, it's below the toilet. You got to snake into the toilet to find it. Why is she in this match? You're gonna go with the multiple people in one match and then put fucking Indy Hartwell in it. A joke. Ivy Nile takes another pinfall. Again, I'm trying to figure out what she did to anybody. Sol Ruca once again loses, despite the fact they keep doing vignettes and keep trying to push her as a top star. It's really pointless that she keeps hitting her finisher, which is stupendous, and not winning. Like, she hits her finish and then she loses. It's all about one move. As long as she does the Soul Crusher or whatever the hell they call it, it's okay. It's all right as long as she hits her move. That's dumb. Why waste this girl's bumps? You know how it is, Sean. You know that she can't do this shit for 10 to 15 years, knowing that flip upside down. Why are you making this girl waste them bumps? If she does that move, she should win. Period. Otherwise, she shouldn't even hit the move. Don't hit it if you're not going to win. Don't even do it if you're not going to win. Like, how many times do you see people use their finishers and not win? Outside of super big matches, big WrestleMania main events or, big matches on TV or something like that. This is a throwaway 5th match on a 7-match card. For Christ's sake, come on. Indy Hartwell winning put me in a real bad space. I don't like it. Don't like it at all. Not really feeling this women's ladder match. It's stupid. Okay, we'll talk about how dumb it is later. Valentina Feroz was defeated by Elektra Lopez. This was one of the most pointless matches on the show. At least it was short, but it was incredibly pointless. The match was a good 2 minutes and 13 seconds or some nonsense like that. What was he supposed to learn about this? Valentina Feroz is still on the hot seat for her quote unquote transphobic comments, or transphobic like, I guess you could say. She was supposed to teach Elektra Lopez that cheaters don't prosper. But then we had to learn that Elektra Lopez didn't even need to cheat to beat her. So there we go. I learned something. Eddie Thorpe is the Indian DJ, the Native American DJ, who says that he feels the spirit of his people in his music and will conquer this territory like an alpha wolf. I was like, oh boy, here we go. So Eddie Thorpe had a match against a guy named Miles Bourne, and I was not impressed. I know that everybody knows who this guy is from New Japan. He's from the New Japan Dojo. Yes, there seems to be some intrigue in the guy. He was used as an extra in the Bloodline Goodfellas WrestleMania commercial, which is a good spot. You as an extra, that means WWE is actually paying attention to you. A lot of big stars started out as extras doing small things, and it's kind of a nice little Easter egg if he has to become something. We can, tell the story of how he ended up in that position. Like when Triple H had Charlotte and Sasha Banks and all of them and Alexa Bliss as girls that was on the stage during his WrestleMania entrance once. Like the Hardy Boys were the guys who opened the door for the King of the Ring. I like that. It's a nice little job if you can get it. Helps you people pay attention to you too. This match though, I was not impressed. I felt like it went on too long. He should have just beat this guy a lot cleaner. The crowd also did not care. The crowd did not give a damn about Eddie Thorpe at all, period. I'm telling you, you're probably better off doing vignettes and promos and warming people up. Think about what happened when Tony D'Angelo was being introduced, right? Just go back to those days. That wasn't even that long ago. That was about last year, before they decided to change things up again. Tony D'Angelo, they did a series of promos with him in a different place talking about the family business and why he's coming to NXT and everything. And then his first night in, he was super over. People was hot. People was paying attention to him and everything. Here, it was okay. People were chanting for him, but I think they just like to chant Eddie because of Eddie Guerrero, not necessarily because of Eddie Thorpe. Eddie Thorpe. Okay. It's hard to judge a guy from one match, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to say I was not that impressed with this performance. Yeah. Hopefully he does better next time. Gallus says that they didn't care about having to face multiple opponents. It's like, yeah, because nobody cares about that kind of stuff anymore. They did a prime target for Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes. It was good. Probably one of the best things on the show. Carmelo Hayes says that while everyone else is out partying, he's at work. He'll celebrate when it's finished. While Braun Breaker talked about carrying the brand and being the most dominant NXT champion of all time. It was a great little vignette. I wish they had done these. Well, you can't do them for 18 people in a match, so sorry. Another pointless match occurred. Hank Walker was defeated by Drew Gulak. This match was entirely too long. Hank Walker lost because Charlie Dempsey forearmed him in the back of the head, and Drew Gulak hit him with a small package. Yes, this match has a storyline attached to it, but when was the last time this story had been updated? It's been at least 2 weeks. At least. And again, it's also Drew Gulak versus Hank Walker. Come on, brother. Come on, brother. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, they had a promo segment where they talked about darkness falling on Stand and Deliver, and they tied their arms together and in a way of sealing themselves together or some nonsense to be conjoined as one or something. It was some hellish, devilish thing that they were doing that actually looked kind of sexy. But hey, I'm just saying what I said. Tony D'Angelo and Stax Lorenzo defeated Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs. So Fallon Henley apparently still has not dropped this Sebastian situation and continues to badger Kiana James about it. Kiana James counters by getting Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs a shot at the tag team titles if they could beat Tony D'Angelo and Stax Lorenzo, which they don't, so they lose. So this match was pointless. During the match, Kiana James and Fallon Henley are watching, where Fallon Henley continues to say that I'm going to tell him after this match. And so she storms off, and as soon as they lose, Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs are in the ring. Kiana James and Fallon Henley show up. Fallon Henley says that Kiana James has something to tell him. She gets the microphone. She says, well, I think it'll be better if I show you. And then Kiana James kisses Brooks Jensen. And Vic Joseph is... he's on base. They doing a good job with this storyline. I just hate that I don't care about Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs. I don't give a damn about these two guys. But they've got enough stuff here to make it interesting, because I actually do like Kiana James and Fallon Henley. So those two are cool, at least. The way she keeps avoiding this situation by trying to create situations where she's the baby face. So clearly she did some dumb shit, but she's trying to babyface herself by saying, oh yeah, I got you this great thing, or I'm going to do this great thing for you, as a way of, keeping Jensen under her thumb. And I actually like it. I enjoy it. It was funny, at least. It didn't get the big reaction that you would think, because everybody kind of sees Kiana James for what she is. But it was funny as Vic Joseph tried to get the reaction, tried to force it. But it was still a big moment because you know that Brooks Jensen is a virgin and everything. So he finally got his first kiss, but it was by his cheating girlfriend, and it only happened because his friend was going to rat her out. Okay. I am interested. I'm interested in how far it's going to go. Is Fallon Henley going to dang this over her head to the degree that she's actually going to lay down the law with Brooks Jensen? Let's hope. Let's hope. Yeah. So the final segment was Grayson Waller in the ring. Whether he's going to sign this contract for the unsanctioned match. I would think that if there's a contract, then it's sanctioned, right? Right. So that means there will have to be some kind of waiver then. That would be a more appropriate terminology, that he's going to sign a waiver to have this fight, but whatever. So Grayson Waller gets in the ring and he cuts an incredible promo. The boy is very good at promos. He says it doesn't matter when he's on because he is the real main event. And that the last time, 15 months ago, Johnny Gargano got time in this ring because he kissed Shawn Michaels' ass and called Johnny Gargano the biggest mark in the business, which is clearly a double-edged comment. But not just because he's a big wrestling mark, but he's also a big target. And then he says, I sent you home and sent myself into the stratosphere. And he says, nobody in the business has bet on themselves more than Grayson Waller. He called Johnny Gargano Mr. NXT, but promised him he's going to lose at Stand and Deliver. At that point, Johnny Gargano snuck into the ring, and the brawl began. Security separated the both of them. It was mild, I would say. You know, we kind of knew Johnny Gargano was going to find his way into the ring. So, did we really care? No, not really. But Grayson Waller is a really good promo. So, he's a solid promo. I really enjoyed his promo for sure. That being said, that is the end of NXT. It was an okay show, but just way too much in-ring stuff from people who were not ready and not over. And I definitely see why they have problems with the crowd, for Christ's sake. They didn't give away too much of anything that was exciting, that was really supposed to sell this show. You know, they didn't even get to see Braun and Carmelo in the ring together tonight. You know, again, they're going into all of these matches with little to no heat. But let's talk about these matches, by the way. All right, so there's a 7-match card, but it's okay because it's a pay-per-view. So, match 1, Chase University, Andre Chase, Duke Hudson, and Thea Hale, and Tyler Bate, versus the Schism, Joe Gacy, Jagger Reed, Rip Fowler, and Ava. Okay, so the winners of the match gain control of Chase University. Now, it would be fun if this is where Duke Hudson finally turns heel and fucks off Chase University. That would rule. At the same time, the crowd in NXT does love Chase University. And do you want to take it from them? That's going to be the question. And you can't take it from them if you can't replace it with something. So if you take Chase University away from them, what are you going to give them in return? I don't know what that answer is. And if your problem is that you have crowd problems, I don't think you should take away one of your biggest babyface factions. So that means clearly that Chase University probably should win. At that point, we probably should do something else with Schism, because I think they probably outgrown their usefulness here in NXT if they can't beat Chase University. But I think that's why the reason why Tyler Bate is in it is because Tyler Bate is actually a pushed wrestler for the most part. He's not a jobberino. He's a pushed guy. You know, Tyler Bate wins more than he loses, far more than he loses. So that kind of is going to make the excuse. So, but I think most of his things about this match is going to be Ava Raine. A lot of people are going to be sitting back waiting to see how she does in the ring. This is going to be her first official match. It's going to be a part of an 8-person tag match. So that ought to be fun, you know. If they do win, if Schism does win, then Ava has to get the pinfall, I think. That would be a good feather in her cap. So I'm really interested in seeing how she is. You know, that's my interest in this match, is how does Ava Raine perform? And is she going to start doing rock moves, like float over DDT and a rock bottom and stuff? We're definitely going to be looking very closely on that one. All right, triple threat tag team championship match. Gallus versus the Creed brothers versus the D'Angelo family. Personally, I want the D'Angelo family to win because I think Tony D'Angelo was long overdue for a title. I don't think Gallus is really working out. They feel like the two lost members of the Brawling Brutes. And I like Gallus. There's nothing about them right now. They're very just generic bar brawling guys. And plus Wolfgang keeps putting a man bun in his hair, which is killing his gimmick, and he just doesn't realize it. You got to go back and watch some old wrestling, Wolfgang. None of the guys that you're going to see would have ever had a top knot. It's just not going to happen, bro. You're not going to see anybody with a top knot in 1980s or even early, well, maybe in the 90s you probably would have. But I'm sorry, just no top knots. Gallus just come across as heavies to me. They're two big dudes who have, not that much in the way of personality, but they're believable bruisers. If they really get started throwing hands and fighting, they actually look good. But, they're missing something. And I think Mark's brother missing is a big problem. Gallus is not a tag team. It's a 6-man. It's a 3 trios thing. So they need the brother back, or they need somebody else, one or the other. The Creed brothers, I think they're ready for the main roster, if we're being honest. The Creed brothers could easily go up to Raw or SmackDown and be good contenders for anybody. I think they're just ready. They're very good. And the D'Angelo family, hell, I think Tony D'Angelo is ready. But I think that, honestly, he should probably go over, So I definitely think we should go with Tony D'Angelo and Stax. So I'm going to go with them to win the tag team championships, even though I know that the chances of them winning are very slim. All right. Fatal 5-way for the NXT North American Championship. Wes Lee versus Dragon Lee versus JD McDonough versus Ilya Dragunov versus Axiom. All right. Axiom was thrown in this match in the last minute. Wes Lee, this is a mostly babyface match. Wes Lee is a babyface. Dragon Lee's a babyface. Ilya Dragunov is a babyface. Axiom is a babyface. Who is booking this show? Come on. Christ. There's no heat here because there's only one heel in the entire damn match. I don't know, man. This is a legit toss up because I can see them wanting to give Dragon Lee a big push out of the gate by giving him the title and giving him a run. I can also see them wanting to give the belt to Ilya Dragunov because as a performer, he kind of needs something. He's really good, but he can't keep fighting the European guys. Same thing with JD McDonough is, they just keep having work rate matches in the middle of the show with other European guys. It's like, that's nice and all, but come on, you got to do something a little bit more than that. Axiom is no different, really. And plus, I just don't think that somebody they threw in at the last minute is got a chance of winning. I just don't believe that. So I'm gonna go with Dragunov. I think Ilya Dragunov is going to win. Because to me, at least, he's the most pushed wrestler in the match. And I think he's the guy you could probably put the belt on and people would be happiest. I think giving the belt to Dragon Lee right now is probably a little too fast. Might want to give it a little bit of time. And him winning the title in a singles match is probably much better than him winning it in this clusterbuck. I'm not a big fan of the clusterbuck, I promise you that. All right, tag team match for the women's NXT tag team titles, which probably should have been pushed to this show and not tried to be smudged into this Stand and Deliver. Fallon Henley and Kiana James versus Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I could see maybe the secrets between Fallon Henley and Kiana James getting in the way and distracting them. I just sit here saying to myself, I just don't understand why you would beat Alba Fire again. Like, she can't win a singles championship, and now she can't win the tags either. Like, wow. Like, she can't win shit. She need to get out of NXT. And I'm telling you, it is what it is. If she can't win this match, she need to get out of NXT. That's just what I think. Now, it would be nice if we had some creative people, and let's say Alba Fire and Isla Dawn do lose, that they should be brought up and probably put in a faction with Alexa Bliss. And I think that would put all your spooky characters in one faction and call it a day, which is fine. Alba Fire could be the work rate, Alexa Bliss could be the voice, and Isla Dawn could be sort of the inspiration. And I think that you have a nice little faction there with the three of them. And you could actually do different things there. Fallon Henley and Kiana James technically did just win the belts. So trying to take them from them so soon seems a little silly. But I definitely think that this secret between the two of them could end up breaking them up. So I'm going to go with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn as the winners. I think they've been strong enough, built to win the belts. So let's go with that. Okie dokie. So ladder match for the NXT Women's title: Roxanne Perez, Zoe Stark, Gigi Dolan, Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria, and Indy Hartwell. The site that I'm looking at says that Roxanne Perez is defending the championship, which doesn't sound right because she was stripped. All right, technically the title was vacant. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't care. I'm not even gonna hold you up. It does change my finish, however. Now, Lyra Valkyria shouldn't be in this match, to be quite honest. She should be in the position of winning the title. Same thing for Gigi Dolan and Tiffany Stratton. This is why you shouldn't do this kind of shit. There are some legit contenders in this match. Zoe Stark is even a legit contender. So if the dirt sheets are true, then Zoe Stark is on her way to the main roster. She's been working house shows and all that kind of stuff. Maybe they're going to pull her after this, so she's probably not going to win. Indy Hartwell never wins anything. I'm surprised she's even in this match. They probably just feel bad for her. Her rent's due. She got to pay her student loans or something like that, so they need to give her a bigger paycheck. I don't understand it. Tiffany Stratton definitely shouldn't be in this match if she's not going to win. Lyra Valkyria shouldn't even be in this match if she's not going to win. And Gigi Dolan is just in this match because JC Jane got hurt. So I'm going to go with Roxanne Perez. I think through process of elimination, Roxanne Perez probably has the best chance of winning. The problem is going to be, of course, if she does win, then a lot of the legitimate contenders are in this match. So who do we double back for her to work with? If you take the title from her and put it on somebody else, then what was the point of putting her in this match? I don't know. I'm thinking she has to win it because she's in it. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been no point in her being in it. That's all I'm saying. But on paper, Roxanne Perez versus any of these women, except Indy Hartwell, one-on-one, would be something I would be very interested in. But Roxanne Perez versus the entire fucking field, I'm not interested in because it's not going to lead to anything but people taking naps outside the ring and people crawling like roaches, and I can't stand it. I'm starting to hate ladder matches. I think the modern wrestling business has exploited the ladder match to a degree where I can't get excited for one anymore. Because there seems to be a ladder match every couple of weeks now. So it's very difficult for me to get too excited about a ladder match. It's not NXT's fault. It's their fault because I think they just did a ladder match not too long ago. But it feels like they just do them so often. It's just not interesting. All right, singles match for the NXT title. Brian Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes. I think it's time for Carmelo Hayes to go ahead and take that title. Brian Breaker don't need to come up to the main roster, not yet. He need to do some stuff in NXT first. He need to build a character, do some off-title feuding. That's what I would prefer. I know they probably will call him up if they take the belt from him, but I'm saying they probably shouldn't. Take the belt from him, but, send them down another path. Maybe a heel turn. Let them work heel for a little bit. Get used to that. Try some different things. Maybe you didn't want to try anything because he's the face of the brand. But now he's not going to be the face of the brand anymore. You could take some chances. Do something a little bit different. So let's go with Carmelo Hayes. And I would keep Brian Breaker in NXT for at least another couple of months. And until the main roster situation is all sorted. Because there's still a lot of situations on the main roster that are out of sorts. Whether Bray Wyatt's going to come back or not. Or are they going to do main roster cuts? Are they going to do NXT cuts? What's going to happen? You know, figure out what you're going to do on that side first before you bring a Braun Breaker in there. And that's what I say. So this thing that I'm looking at here actually has Johnny Gargano versus Grayson Waller as the main event. It might be if we it might be. So I'm definitely thinking Johnny Gargano is going to win because this is the kind of match that the babyface should win. I mean, I would imagine he got beat up on his own front lawn under the knowledge that he will be winning in the feud in the end. I definitely think Grayson Waller is main roster ready. And he's like 32 or 33 or something. He's not a young boy like Braun Breaker or Tony D'Angelo or, some people like that. He's actually he is the same age that Bret Hart was when he became the Intercontinental Champion, I think. He is the same age that Shawn Michaels was when Shawn Michaels became the World Champion. I think Stone Cold Steve Austin was around that same age. I know wrestlers are aging older these days. Like you have to be like 40 or something like that to be an old man in the business now. But if you take into account that you need at least 2 or 3 years on the main roster before you really get over, I think you need to get Grayson Waller out of NXT post haste. Like he needs to get out of NXT immediately. So he can lose this match and then pop up on SmackDown or something like that and it not be a big deal. I like Grayson Waller. Great promo, great character. The only problem I got is his body type. Just not enough muscle and not enough muscle mass or anything like that. But otherwise, he's a really great talent. Johnny Gargano is going to win this match. Grayson Waller is going to prove himself ready for the main roster. And I think we definitely get Grayson Waller at the very least. Even if we don't move Indy Hartwell or Braun or, any of the other people, I think Grayson Waller's time in NXT is over. I don't think there's anything else for him to do after this. I legit don't think there's anything. Winning the title, he doesn't need it. I think he's already proven that he doesn't need it. So, Johnny Gargano wins, and we call Grayson Waller up. I would like some surprises in NXT at some point. I don't know, maybe a new signing. This should be around the time for them to start doing, what's that, breakout tournaments? It's about time to start doing stuff like that. There is a lot of change that's needed here in NXT. And my faith in Shawn Michaels has shaken a bit, but I'm telling you, I really still enjoy most of NXT when it's not everybody in one match, 14 matches on the show and, a bunch of European guys doing work rate matches in the middle of the show. I typically enjoy NXT because it's fun and it's silly, so as long as it goes back to being fun and silly, I'll be cool. If it's going to stay not quite NXT, not quite NXT UK, my thing is both of those things were great. I liked NXT 2.0. I liked NXT UK, but that's like, that's like the old saying, putting peanut butter on pizza. It's like peanut butter is great, but it doesn't mix with pizza. And to me, that's kind of how it is. These European guys aren't quite mixing. And it's not because they're not talented. It's because none of them had a character. Well, most of them didn't have a character. The ones who did have characters, like Isla Dawn, they fit in great. Lyra Valkyria, she fits in fine. She has a character. The character of, Gallus, though, they just exist. I don't know. It's weird. But Stand and Deliver ought to be fine. I'm not going to hate the show too much, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be a little long for me, but it's going to be okay. I have faith that the show is going to be fine, and I want some surprises. So, Sean, get to work on some shocks, some surprises, some new signings or something. All right. Thank you guys for your time. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.